H-Dhami, Saloni.
Yeah, Saloni.
I really like that song. It's really catchy, man.
So it's like trying to work with people like that. When I did Nigundelona with Bilal, he really pushed me. So we're both super talented in our own things.
So are people miming when they're doing shows because they put on great performances?
No, I think so. Again, different artists work differently. So I recently did a show at Godiva Festival, sang live and performed like as in dance. So it's trying to find that balance. But there, many artists, what they do, I think, is they'll have
R. Kelly, he's like basically a paedophile. P. Diddy, I don't know if you've heard about P. Diddy, but he's had young celebrities like Bieber around, and they've come out now to say, look, he did certain things. But how do you deal with that? As if this doesn't work.
Like mentally, just like it's fear, but I also want to see if I can have a plan B.
As being a child, sometimes things can get to you, and other people's opinions do matter.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me on my birthday when I was about 16 years old. Well, that day I went home crying. Word for word, that situation happened.
Welcome back to Take a Seat. This is the #1 podcast, or should I say showcast. Yes, we talk about deep topics, but yes, let's make it fun as well. Today, we have a South Asian music artist. She's been doing this from the age of 4. She's graced the stage of Wembley Arena and collaborated with artists such as H-Dhami, who we've also had on. So please welcome Saloni Music.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah. Come on, you've been on the BBC. I've seen you everywhere. I don't know, but to me, you've just popped out. Maybe because I've seen you on a H-Dhami's page or something.
Maybe, yeah.
But how long have you been around?
I mean, like you said, I've been singing since I was about 4 years old. But obviously, that was just kind of just singing from my heart, just generally getting into songs. I've not been, my family isn't musically orientated whatsoever. So singing to them was just such a shock that they could hear a voice from me. But yeah, they've just kind of put me into singing lessons, and I've kind of just been doing singing for a while. But I'd say taking it as a career and doing my whole fusion of South Asian music plus the Western side of things, I'd say over the last couple of years, maybe.
Nice. Well, just on that point, I know we're getting straight into it. Yeah,
No, of course.
bloody hell, we're getting straight into it because I had a few icebreaker questions, but we'll get into them anyway. But if your parents wasn't musically sort of, there,
Yeah.
where did that inspiration come from?
We actually don't know. I still don't know to this day. I mean, my grandparents came round a few months ago, and my granddad was always watching these singing shows. So some sort of inclination might be the fact that my granddad loves music, and that's just kind of got into the genes. But it definitely skipped a generation when it came to my parents, because they don't sing or they don't listen to too much music either. So yeah, it was just, kind of quite a shock. And we still don't know where it really came from.
Do you know, there's a saying out there, you can either be gifted or you can work really hard at something. To be in the music scene, do you think you need to have some sort of gift? You're born with it? Or do you think it's something you can half have a good voice and then work really hard at it?
I think over giftedness, hard work tops it big time. I think in anything, no matter how gifted you are, I think as long as you're persevering and you're kind of consistent with things, the hard work will definitely take you up. You can have 10% of the giftedness, but if you've got 100% of the hard working, then you're much better off than someone that has 90% giftedness and 0% hard working.
Yeah. How much does Autotune help artists?
Some people use it a lot.
Yeah.
Some people not much. I mean, I feel like I've never been one that likes Autotune. I've heard Autotune in my voice and just I'm not really a fan of it. Especially if you hear one of my, growing up, I just never really wanted to use Autotune. I was so against it. But then as I kind of got into the industry a bit more, sometimes Autotune is there just to it's as if it's reverb. Reverb is always necessary in someone's voice because it kind of gives that slight effect.
What is reverb? Sorry.
So reverb is a bit of an echo. So you'll sing and then there'll be a bit of an echo
I
over
like
to
a bathroom sort of.
Kind of, yeah. It gives that bathroom effect.
Yeah.
And so Autotune just gives that cleanliness. But the tiniest bit, the tiniest bit does its job. Whereas too much, I think, is too much. I'm not a fan.
So what happens when our artist is using Autotune and then all of a sudden they're on a show and they go, oh yeah, we want to hear a bit of your voice, and they're going a bit red, and then they have to sing and people go, what the? Do you get put into them sort of, or have you seen artists being put in them sort of situations?
I mean, me personally, I'd like to take pride in my voice. So I love singing just pure. I'd if someone takes down the backing track, I'm like, yeah, I'll sing fully a cappella for you guys. I love that sort of thing because then it's like I'm personally connecting with the audience. With others, I don't think I've seen that personally. But with you, when you do huge shows like arenas and stuff, people are prepared for that sort of thing. So
Yeah. So are people miming when they're doing shows because they put on great performances? Because you got to be the whole package, don't you? You got to be
dancing
the
and all of that.
singer, dancer,
Yeah.
choreograph, and that's what people are wanting to see from a show.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, like your breathing has really got to be conditioned
100%.
to be dancing because people might not realize it, but you're dancing around. It's like running on a treadmill,
Yeah.
and then you're trying to sing
Sing.
your best voice.
Yeah.
Like, are people just miming or?
No, I think so. Like, again, different artists work differently. So I recently did a show at Godiva Festival, and it was the first one where like I sang live and performed like as in danced.
Wow.
Like I don't usually dance. Like I'll do my moves and kind of just walk across the stage. But this one we actually danced for the first time, and I was like, it was challenging, but I didn't have any backing on my backing track. Like I was literally just singing purely live. And I think I was having to figure out how to balance that, like have a control over my breathing. So if I was sort of getting worn out slightly, I just take a bit of a pause and I'd like just start walking across the stage instead of dancing. So it's trying to find that balance. Whether I can't speak for other artists, of course, but there many artists, what they do, I think, is they'll have their vocals at a lower volume. So not completely like as if it's the normal song. They'll just have it at a bit of a lower volume. So in case they're out of breath, it kind of covers up for them.
Right.
But yeah, different artists
So
work
what does that
differently.
mean when you're having your volume at a lower? Is it like the actual song playing over it and they're singing to the song,
No.
or?
So let's say on streaming platforms you'll hear the actual song, and then the vocals are like full on. Whereas if you're some artists when they're performing, what they might do, they'll put it on a -1 track. So your vocal, it's a backing track, like the Spotify track, but your vocals instead of being at at 100% volume will be at 90%.
Right.
Or like 80% or whatever the artist prefers. And so then the mic will still be on when they're performing, but let's say they suddenly take a breath away, then the 90% of the vocals from the original track will still be there to cover them.
Okay, that's interesting
Yeah.
because that's something we don't know. You know, we just stand there and sort of just consume that sort of information. Is there any special training that you need to dance and sing at the same time?
Yeah, 100%. And I have not gone through that training, so I need to get on
Okay.
that. I've seen some on certain artist stories where they're training for the pop culture sort of thing, where like they are learning to dance, and it's like working out. So you're like, I've seen someone's video where like she's doing sit-ups and she's singing because that like gets your stamina up,
Wow.
and that's what I need to learn to do.
Okay. Has
Right
your
now, I'm mainly just a singer. I don't dance when I perform, but I dance in my music videos because I don't need to sing then.
yeah?
But on a live thing, that's definitely something I want to try.
How is your gym regime?
Yeah, I don't go to the gym, which is really bad. I used to go when I was in sixth form, so a few years ago, and I used to go like 3 times a week because
Mm.
I loved it. I had the time, and like I'd take the bus to school, so the middle bus stop always had a gym, so I just get off the bus stop and then go to the gym and then go back home because it's on the way. But now I can't drive, which is very sad. So it's tough to get to the gym, and just time wise, I've really struggled. But it is on my list to do as soon as I can.
Nice. I've got a few little icebreaker questions for you as well. So I want to ask you, every artist has that one song or artist that inspires them. Who's yours?
Inspires them. Ooh. I feel like I don't have a one song. There are so many songs that I just love.
Or is it an artist you really look up to?
An artist I really look up to is Shreya Ghoshal. I mean, she has been my idol since I started to started to listen to music. I've always loved her voice. I've always loved her music.
What sort of music does she sing?
She does Bollywood, Tollywood, like
Okay.
South Asian music mainly.
Right. Okay. Okay. And if you could collaborate with an artist, you know, past or present, who would that be?
Ooh, that is a tough question. Past or present? Um. Ooh. Am I thinking realistically or am I thinking?
Just put it out there to the universe. You got to manifest that thing, you know?
Oh, my mind's gone blank. I feel like there are so many artists, so I can't choose. But yeah, I guess Shreya Ghoshal would be an amazing one
Oh, you're a big fan, ain't
I'm a
you?
big fan.
Why does she inspire you so much? Or
She's got a beautiful voice. Her talent is amazing. And she's huge in the South Asian scene.
Nice. What's your perfect day off?
My perfect day off.
Is it like bustling the markets, going to the temple, chilling with your family? What is your go-to?
Chilling with friends and family and watching TV. I love TV.
Talking about friends, have you had to leave any friends behind?
Not intentionally. It happens. But I wouldn't say intentionally, no.
Has any of your friends got jealous of you?
I wouldn't know. I mean, I'd hope not. And I don't think so, but maybe. Without
So you've never had that friendship where somebody's automatically started treating you differently and go, you've changed, moved away from you, as soon as they saw you on BBC?
no, not like that. No.
Okay, amazing. And what's your guilty pleasure? So
Guilty pleasure.
could be that one song, that genre that you're embarrassed by, like something that you really love, that you know.
Also don't know the answer to this question. Guilty pleasure.
Is it a pop song that you shouldn't like? Something like, oh, that's embarrassing. I'll play that alone. Or
I'm pretty open with the kind of music I listen to be fair. It's very... Don't think there is.
okay, so picture this. We're gonna go for a long journey. Yeah, and we're going for like a road trip. Let's say we're gonna go to Scotland right now, 7-8 hours drive. You're putting a playlist together. What's the first song you're putting on that?
Oh, first song. Well, the first song that just come to my head is Bomb Diggy by Zach Knight. I don't know why, but that is the first song that's come through. Loads of like British Asian bangers. Lately, I think ones that's been stuck in my head is Cooker by DJ Lion and Kushi Kaur, like upcoming artists. I really like Kushi Kaur's an upcoming one, and I loved that song. But you know, other than that, you know, pop like what you hear in the top 20, top 40. Oh, Stargazing by Miles Smith is one that's been stuck in my head. Sabrina Carpenter. Yeah. My music style is like a mix of R&B,
it
pop,
really is.
and Asian music. So you'll get a various number of songs.
So Saloni, tell me, what does an average day look like in your life?
Okay. Well, my life has been changing a lot lately with regards to music, jobs, and everything. So I don't have a set day as of now. But usually, what I'll do before a week starts, or like the day before at least, I'll have a look at what my tasks are for the day, and I'll just kind of prioritize them and make it. I have my whole like spreadsheet of like a timetable sort of thing. I allocate like half an hour slots to each task, or if a task needs 2 hours, then I'll just like allocate it. But my timetable is split into half an hours, and I'll just plan my day based on that. I'll start off with getting ready, sometimes meditating, but not all the time. I need to kind of get to it. Vocal exercises, and then have breakfast and everything.
What does vocal exercises look like?
Well, very, very silly. One thing is like I'll push my I don't even know if I should show this, but so I'll like push my cheeks up a bit, and then I'll go but basically it warms up your lips and like your vocal cords.
Okay, so it's the
yeah, and you basically go from the lowest note that you can to the highest note that you can.
Okay.
And, well, like you'll gradually go up and up. Basically.
And so what, these warm up your vocal cords. I've heard that you can pull your vocal cords or strain them.
Yes, of course, which is why you've got to do your warm ups, vocal exercises to kind of make sure that happens. It's like before a workout, you don't want to like pull a ligament or anything, right? So you want to stretch beforehand and warm up. So that's kind of what it is.
Wow, that's kind of I didn't know that, because somebody was like, you can lose your voice and everything. Like, have you ever lost your voice from singing?
No, luckily not. But it has gone croaky, and I've had to be like, okay, I need to take a break. Honey, lime, and water. Got to make sure that I have ginger and salt. That is a key one that I have.
Ginger and salt.
Yeah. So.
What do you do if you have a big show coming up and your voice is going croaky?
Firstly, I'll panic. I'm like, oh my God, I've got a really big show. My voice can't be like this. But then I'll be like, okay, what can I do? I will have warm water, put honey and lime in it. I'll have like, my mom makes like this ginger and roasts it. And then I have that with rice. That helps me.
It helps.
Yeah. Because it's like, I think ginger is like, obviously it's soothing sort of thing, right? So I'll have that, or ginger tea. Just any sort of home remedies that will help me. Oh, there's one like South Asian one called rasam, South Indian. That really pepper rasam is like, it's a
Tell,
godsend.
tell us about pepper ricin.
It's just hot water with tomatoes and pepper and like certain seasoning, and I have that with rice, or I just drink it on its own. It's like a hot soup, but something that you can have with rice.
Nice. Okay, so that's your morning routine in terms of that. Then what do you do?
And then I will get on with my tasks. I will take some breaks during my tasks, obviously, but
So from the outside, someone's like, "Oh, she's doing music every single day. She's making videos every day. She's performing on BBC every single day." What is that week like, or that month like? Like how much goes on with the music side of
yeah,
things?
no, I mean, okay, there's the music side, which is the bit that I love to do, you know, going to, like you said, BBC, or, you know, going into the studio is the best thing, performing live and all of that stuff. But aside from that, there's a whole business aspect to it, and which
Mm.
people don't see on the outside. So that stuff is like, you know, figuring out how you're going to get these shows, or figuring out how you're going to market your stuff to the audience. Like, people aren't just going to see it out of nowhere. You've got to put a social media plan together. You've got to put ads together if you want to do it. So it's like, it's having a balance of those two. Right now I am fairly self-managed, so it's like a lot. I am the one that's making the key, like I'm the key decision maker. So it's like I'm running a business as well as being the creative, being the product. And so there's a lot to it, and that's where my tasks come in play. So there's like, obviously I'll put in certain bits where, you know, for example, this, I've come in for this in London, so I've like set out my time on the day for that. But then when I go back, I'll have like tasks that I like, admin stuff that I need to do, or like I've got people on my team. I've started to, like, you know, realize that a business can't just be done by one person. You've got to get, you know, people to work under you,
Yeah.
editors, or like, you know, just general assistants that can help you, and you kind of delegate tasks. I feel like that's a big thing, being able to delegate. Only recently have I been able to do that. I always used to be like, I know what I want to do better myself, and I'm never going to be able to explain it to someone. But that's a task in itself. That's a talent in itself to be able to delegate, which I am slowly learning to do. But yeah, that's how it kind of is. You've got to think holistically. You can't, like, just singing is not enough. It's really the whole package.
Mm-hmm. What happens if this doesn't work?
I have a degree in management science from UCL, so I am relying on that.
That's quite an
Uh,
Asian thing, you know. Like,
yeah,
I've got
it
a business
is.
degree
Yeah.
behind me, you know. Like,
Yeah, it's it's an
where
Asian.
did that come from?
Obviously, parents have like that. They'll push me to a certain extent, but also I feel like inside of me, I'm not like, the uncertainty of being an artist has got to me before, like mentally, just like it's fear. And so it's like, yes, I'm going to put my all into this, but I also want to see if I can do, like, have a plan B. And I've always been quite an academic person. I always like aced my GCSEs, A levels, and stuff. So I was like, I like studying as well. Like, obviously I don't love studying, but I'm not one of those that just can't study. Like, I'm quite academically bright. So I was like, okay, let me just do a degree and see where this goes. And so I've just graduated, got a first in my degree from UCL. So it's like, I have that knowledge, and that knowledge is transferable to, like, my business as an artist. So being able to have that is secure. That being said, I'm also like looking at, I don't like, just in general, having that backup, I just feel like gives me a peace of mind. So that's where I'm at with the, in case it doesn't work out. But I try not to think in that sense, because I love what I do and I want to make music my full-time career.
How do extended family look upon your sort of music career and you performing, as opposed to there's certain pressures like you should be an accountant or a lawyer, or you know, something more, you know, of that sort of nature? Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, are people going, "Don't do this; it's too risky"?
I feel like everyone's quite supportive, and like, at least in the front, like, to the, like, the front that they have towards me. All extended family have been like, oh my god, it's amazing, congrats, well done. Like, and they do see the hard work, because it's not just easy to just put out these things. Like, it takes a lot of time and effort to do it. So they
Isn't
see
it?
that.
Isn't it? You just take the mic out and just start singing, and that's it.
Oh, I wish it was that. I wish that's what it was. But yeah, as I said, there's so much to it. There's like planning, you know, writing lyrics is like a huge thing. Writing
You're a
songs.
writer as well.
Yes, I'm a songwriter. So
Where does that come from?
Again, just out of nowhere, I guess. I mean, to be fair, when I was younger, I did like a competition, like just a performance, singing competition, and I was scouted by a record label, and when I was about 12, 13.
Okay.
And they had like this academy called Big Help Academy, and they really gave me the basis of being an artist. So then I was just a singer, but being an artist is, being able to carry yourself, and like you don't. Not all artists are songwriters, but it's also good to be a songwriter because then you're in the future you're owning most of your stuff financially. You're benefiting off your artist's work. Whereas if there's another songwriter that came in, they'd get all the royalties and you wouldn't. So this academy helped me understand that, and they like taught me how to songwrite. Try to like obviously songwriting isn't something that you can teach, but it's something that can like be sparked and kind of inspired in a way, and kind of just generally give you some knowledge about it. It's a developing thing. Like I'm still learning to be better at songwriting. It's not my strongest point, but it's definitely something that like I am a singer songwriter. So that really helped me, and that's kind of where that kind of grew.
So somebody's at home right now who might be a really good singer,
Hmm.
and they're going right now. They're going, baby, 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 oh, like, and then next thing they go, hang on. Saloni just told me that I need to not do good covers of other people. I need to own my own music.
Yeah,
So man needs to write some music now.
yeah,
Yeah. So can you give us a little prep, like just a little mini lesson to
yeah,
say, right, it's the first time you're going to do some music writing. These are the things that you need to look out for. This is the process you need to follow, and this is how to work. Because to me, it's like I just stepped into a blank canvas room. I can't hear no sounds. I can't hear a beat. I can't hear a music. Do I need the words first? Do I need a beat first?
yeah.
How do I do this? Like
Okay.
I'm blind.
Let me stop you right there, because everyone has a different way of doing it. And even in different phases of your career, you'll have a different way of doing it. So I started off with nothing in the room, just my singing teacher with her piano and us trying to songwrite together. And she'd play a few chords, and I'd just kind of hum some melodies. And then after we got some melodies down, we'd write some lyrics. That's how I used to do it. But now, what I do is I'll listen out for beats. Like loads of producers are sending me beats, and I'll listen to these beats. And if I hear anything, I'll go to my sound engineer. I'm like, "Look, I like this beat. Can we work with it?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, sounds good." And then the second I hear the beat, I'll like a melody just sort of comes to me. There's nothing like sometimes I'll have a mind blank and I'm like, I don't know what to think, and I'll just leave it. And today's not the day to song, right? But there are days where like I'll just listen to something and immediately a line comes, not words, but a melody, and I work on that melody. Sometimes that melody can be a chorus, sometimes that melody can be a verse. Usually it is a chorus, because if it's the first melody you're thinking of, it's probably the most catchiest one.
Yeah.
And so we record all of these melodies, just literally just jumbled up, like it's just random melodies, and then we sit there together and listen to each thing and crop the best bits and then kind of piece it together. And then after we've got that, we've like, okay, we've got a melody here. Let's think about what we want this song to be about. And usually, I mean, lately I've just been on a whole empowering, inspirational sort of thing.
Mhm.
So a lot of my lyrics are about how to, like, talking about my dream, but like metaphorically. So I have a song that's about to come out. It'll come out in a while, but the song is when you listen to it firsthand, it just sounds like a love song, because it is also a girl and a guy singing, and you just think it's a love song. But actually, it was metaphorical about a dream that I'm having, like my goal. So I'm talking about the goal, saying like I see it and that's my vision and I want to be that, but it's like slipping away. But I know I want to get it, and I'm going to strive for it regardless. But it kind of, but in the song it sounds like, oh, the relationship is there, the guy's kind of going away, but I still want to hold on to our love. So it's like when you're writing the song, it doesn't have to be literal, like it can be very metaphorical, and I think that's the art of songwriting. But yeah, going back to your question, there's so many different ways to do it. I tend to start with a beat, think of a melody, and then think of lyrics.
What do you mean by think of a melody?
um just I hum, like I'll listen to the beat and I was just like, I don't like, it's really, this is bad because like
That's all right.
I'm not listening to a beat or anything, but like I'll just hum something, just what the first thing that comes to my head. And like I said, like I'll hum so many different things, and then I'll chop up the best bits and I'll piece them together.
You think of like topics in your head?
So that doesn't come first. Well, sometimes if I listen to the beat and I'm like, oh, this is the topic. So for example, my recent song with Farooq Audio, the song called Ronnie, the second he sent me that beat, I heard bad beat, empowering. I was like, this is like, I am the boss beat sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so I knew that was the theme, because
Yeah.
the beat gave that vibe.
Yeah.
And so I immediately know what the theme was.
Yes.
And then, but I still didn't write the lyrics yet because I didn't know what lyrics would go with that. So I wrote the melody first, as in hummed the melody first, and then we started writing the lyrics.
I like that. Sometimes things just come
Yeah.
to you just like that.
Yeah.
I was watching actually a podcast with Juggy D. We was talking about him earlier, but he said one of his biggest hits was when it just went in English. It went, "I just want to dance with you,"
Yeah.
and he goes, "I'm at the dead and all of that, you know." And
Yeah.
then somebody goes, "Sorry, what did you say? Can you say that again?" And it's like that's how that song came about, and that was one of the
Yeah.
biggest songs. Like
Yeah.
something, just things just drop into your head.
Yeah.
That's really, really, inspiring to hear that some people are that creative, because music can really, really change your day. Sometimes people are going through stuff. They feel very lonely. They're going through deep, horrible stuff. And just a song can turn the whole day around, like going, oh, I can do this. Like,
Yeah.
and inspires, like, what really inspires you about your sort of music?
I just love singing. And I think at the end of the day, me singing gives me the most satisfaction, whether that's on a track, whether that's to a live performance, just singing out of just out of my heart, that inspires me the most. And I think in terms of the songs that I've been releasing, like I said, right, I've been in this whole phase of I want to strive for my dream. I like just that empowering sort of thing. I want to give that off to the rest of like whoever's listening. Like, you're not on your own. There are so many people that want to go for a dream. Make it happen. Like, be that person that makes it happen. Don't. And so that's kind of where I take inspiration from. I think growing up, I had a huge support system. My parents were amazing. My parents are still amazing. They're supporting me every step of the way. I've had my core friends, but also at the same time, I've had negativity around in terms of like, oh, why are you making music your career? That's like, why would you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And that initially put me down a bit because I was only 14, 15 when people were saying that to me at school. So it was like, okay, that was there back in the time, but now look at me. Like, I've not let that affect me. And I think I kind of take that into my music. I'm like, regardless of what people say, if I love to do it, then I'm going to do it. And as long as I'm happy, nothing else really matters.
As being a child, sometimes things can get to you, and other people's opinions do matter.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, oh, that's what she said or he said. Imagine you're 13 or 14 years old, you're on a bus, there's somebody in front of you, can't see you, you're behind them, they're listening to your songs and just laughing at you.
I can't believe you just said that, because that happened. That's exactly what happened to me on my birthday when I was about 16 years old. Word for word, that situation happened. I don't know how you said that, like you read my mind, but that's what happened. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, that's what I just wanted to leave it there.
Yeah.
How do you react with that? How do them people's opinions affect you? How does it affect you today when you're performing live? Do you go back to them thought processes, and does it make you feel any anxiety? Does it make you feel, anxious? Does it make you feel like, what if other people are still thinking that? First of all, how did you deal with that on your birthday?
Well, that day I went home crying. I started crying on my birthday, but hey ho, it happens. But now going back and thinking about that, I'm just like, I don't really care anymore, because that happened back then, and yeah, that affected me. But did that stop me from singing? No. And did I carry on? Did I carry on to perform at huge places like arenas and everything? Yes, I did. And if I let that affect me, none of this would have happened, and I never would have been like, it's fine. Like, now I'm above it. Or, as in, not in a cocky way, obviously, like, but just in a self sort of what's it called, like self-respect sort of way. Like, I'm not gonna let that affect me.
But how do you deal with failure?
How do I deal with failure? Failure is just like a part and parcel of everything. Like, I've got to deal with it. Like, I feel like success can only happen if there's failure. You're not going to be successful first time round. And that always happens. Like, for example, last year, Ni Gunde Lona is my biggest hit in Telugu, Bangla, and English. But before that, I didn't have huge songs. Whereas this one literally hit millions within the first few weeks.
Wow.
And so it's like, but I had to go through many failures to be able to get to that point. And that is a good success point, but I know I want to get further. And the songs after that haven't hit as well as those have, but I know, like, 5 times down the line, another one will hit maybe bigger than that. So it's like, it's just perseverance and consistency, that's literally the two key things. And there is no success without failure. So it's like, if you knew the 99th time that you would fail, you'd be a success, would you continue going? Like, like, let's say my 100th time is going to be the success, but I've got to fail 99 times. If I'm going to fail once a month for 99 times, then I'll get there in 99 months. But if I do it once a week, if I fail once a week, then I'll get there a lot quicker. So it's just like, continue trying until you get to that success point, because don't let failure hit you down, basically.
I love that. You're very mature for like such a young age as well. I have to say that. What are the things that you listen to? Do you listen to like podcasts, motivational speeches? Do you listen to affirmations? Where do you get this stuff from?
My dad and his lectures.
Oh,
My dad he'll take the smallest thing and deep it and go around us for things. Me and my brother are just like, we don't need to make this a lecture, we just made a joke. But in like, it is a huge thing. Like, without, yeah, we mock it and everything, but it's a big part of our development and like our mindset. It is my dad.
yeah. How important is it to have your parents around you?
Very important. I've not been to a single shoot without my mom. I've always needed my mom there. Like, it's she's like a huge pillar. Dad similarly. Like, anytime I have like any business issues around the music, or just generally, I'm like, I don't know what to do, I'll go to dad. Like, they are huge pillars for me, and I could not do my music without them.
Whenever you get an industry such as music, obviously everybody wants to make it, and a lot of artists, producers, people who are going to collaborate, going to help produce you good music. There may be a lot of opportunities out there, and there's certain individuals who we know already in the artist sort of industry have taken advantage of that. R. Kelly, don't know if you've heard of him. He's like basically a pedophile. You have people like P. Diddy. I don't know if you've heard about P. Diddy, but he's had, you know, young celebrities like Bieber around, and they've come out now to say, look, he did certain things, and people just want to basically make their passion. They want to make it a thing. Like, they want to get there, and people abuse their power, like by doing inappropriate things. How do you see that in terms of, because you just mentioned that your mom comes to you in shoots and stuff? I love that actually, because it's like someone watching over you.
Yeah.
And if my daughter was doing the same, I'd be like, right, one of us have got to sort of be there, because I'm not trusting nobody with my child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do you sort of know right or wrong? Because ultimately you're still in some way, shape or form a child. There's somebody who's got a lot more 20, 30 years of experience, more than you, got access to more doors than you, but at the same time it could be like very costly in terms of more ways than one. How do you deal with that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Have you had that talk
With parents?
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah, because I think it got to a point where I was like, I'm an adult now. I don't need you to come to everything. There are certain things I can do by myself, and I think it just came to this thing where, like, because, like, for example, studio sessions and everything, I just go to myself, because, like, I've kind of built this rapport with certain producers and everything. So my parents are fine leaving me. Like, that's all good. Especially in an Asian household, it is harder to leave a child. I completely get that. But I think in the initial stages, yeah, it was tough to tell my parents, like, look, I can do things by myself. But I think it is definitely good to have that support system at a younger age. Because I remember when I was I think I was just turned 18, and someone wanted to manage me, but he took me to a meeting in a shisha lounge, and I'm like, I don't know if that's appropriate. Yeah, I'm 18 and everything, but I don't smoke, so I don't want to be in that environment. I don't see that as a formal setting. And so I didn't tell my parents about that, but at the time. But now looking back, I'm like, yeah, nothing bad happened, so thank God. But those sort of things I would tell, like, it's good to have at least someone to tell you, whether that's your cousin, whether that's your sibling, like someone, so that at least someone knows, just in case something does go wrong. But I think those sort of things I've sort of been able to assess whether it's a good meeting or not, or if it's professional or not. Like, so for example, after that, I didn't go any further with it because it didn't really make sense. So I think it's also just having a bit of an instinct, but also having someone that might be older than you to just give you a bit of a guide in case anything, like in case something should flag up, sort of thing. But now I just feel like I'm very comfortable with telling my parents everything, telling any friends, like if I'm going somewhere, just like keep an eye in case. But I'd like to think I'm fairly managed to get a gauge of the situation and kind of assess what's right or wrong.
Have you ever been in an uncomfortable situation?
Not in an inappropriate. Oh, actually, maybe yes, I have. I have actually, but managed to get out of it
Can you
fairly
share that with
quickly.
us?
Probably wouldn't want. As in, like nothing happened, but I was. It was in India. We were in a studio. We were shooting. Actually, no. Let's cut that out. I don't think I want to share
Okay.
it. But
No,
nothing bad happened, luckily. But it was like we had to get a cousin in just to come in and see, and then I went back with him.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's talk more about your music and your genre.
Mhm.
What is your style? Because originally you started a bit more pop,
Yeah.
and now it's starting to change a little bit.
Yeah.
Talk us about your thought process.
Sure.
What are the difference between the musics? What inspires you more? What are the beats differences?
Mhm.
Like what is it all about? Like
Yeah, of
I know
course.
nothing.
No, all good. So like I said earlier, I was scouted by a record label, an academy, who kind of took me on, developed me as an artist. And after a few years, I think 4 years down the line, we were like, okay, it's time to release original music. And at that time, I was very separate with my identities. Like I had my, English side that I'd take to school, and then like my home side where I was, pretty Asian. I was singing classical stuff, or I was like just singing Bollywood, Tollywood,
So
and I
your classical stuff there's a special name for that, no?
Carnatic. Yeah.
Chronatic. So I mentioned that in an environment, and they were like, "Oh yeah, chronatic music." I was like, "I've never heard of that." Like, because I wanted to
Yeah.
do a little bit of research. So what
Yeah.
is that?
So it's South Indian classical music. So just like we'd have like I wouldn't compare it to opera, but do you know what Hindustani music is?
Sort of, but I think there's nothing better than you just showing us.
Oh no, I will not. Because I have actually lost touch with Carnatic, which is really bad, but I
Okay.
need to kind
Not
of
even
get
a
back to it.
tiny sample.
But I mean, like there's the basics, which is like the alankar. So like there's arohanam, avrohanam,
Go
which
for it.
is like if you hear in English like do re mi fa sol la ti do.
Go
I'm
on.
sure have you heard of that? So in Carnatic or even Hindustani, it's the same swaras. So it's like sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So it's like
Amazing.
thank you.
Wow.
But it's basically what I was doing there is rhythm. So that's Adi Talam. And then what I was singing was like literally the notes of the piano going up and then going back down.
Beautiful.
And that's the very basic
I
of
felt
Carnatic
power.
music.
That was powerful, boy.
Thank
If you were in the
you.
studio right now, you know, I felt it. I was like, wow, where did that come from? This soft speaking Kel, then all of a sudden something powerful comes like, whoa.
But yeah, those were the basics I learned back when I was 4 years old. I started off with some Carnatic music. And then I kind of went into like, so yeah, that was my base, and that was one side of me. Like I'd go to the temple, I'd sing kirtanas and stuff like that. Tyagraj, like there's this thing every year I'd go to in Birmingham Temple where I'd sing Tyagraj Aradhanas. So it's basically a song, but a religious song with all of these swaras and stuff. And then there's my English side where I'd listen to pop music, be at school, let's be like trying to listen to what everyone else is listening to. So I had that side of me. And I used to keep them very different because like I'd bring some of this to school and be like, ew, what's that? And then so I'd just be scared to kind of display it. Even like family friends, like South Asian family friends that I went to school with, they just didn't want to be associated with our brown side. And so I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I shouldn't either. Like maybe it's uncool to be brown. So yeah, I kept the identities separate. And when I first released my first EP, the original music that I was doing was all pop. It was purely English, nothing else. And I did do one mashup in there that brought in the Asian side, but it was a cover. It wasn't my original music. And then similarly, my second EP that I released after that. So this first EP was in 2017 when I was 16 years old. And then 2019, I released a second EP, which was pure originals, but again, all English. And it was cool. I did love it because it was like, that's a big part of me as well, right? I was born and brought up here, so I have a lot of pop influences and everything. Literally grew up loving Taylor Swift and Shawn Mendes and Justin Bieber and stuff. So I have all of that into my music, and that was what it was influenced by it. But believe it or not, again, like I said, I kept my things separate, and I had it as if I had a full-on different social profile for my music, like my Indian stuff, and then a completely different profile for my Western stuff. This was called Saloni _ music. This was called Saloni Buina, like my full name, and I just kind of kept it separate. But after that, I was like, look, I don't fully identify with this because I wasn't born in India or anything, but I also don't fully identify with this because I still have a cultural background. And we were like, okay, how can we combine these things together? And eventually, when I came out of high school, where I didn't have the influences from people from school telling me, oh, Asian music, I was able to just look back onto myself and see, what do I truly like. And it is a mix of the two. Like, I can't choose between the other, like one or the other. Like, it is truly a mix of the two. And that's when I started doing covers and mashups, where I brought these two different different genres of music together. And I posted like a cover on YouTube every single week. Because this is when I took a gap year. I came out of school and I was like, let me take a gap year, let me just focus on my music. I won't go to uni, let me just do music. And that's when I did all of this. And that kind of gained a lot of traction on TikTok and everything. Like, loads of people started liking that sort of thing. And I was like, okay, I've actually found what I truly am. And I feel happier doing it because it's fitting with my identity. And then someone from the British Asian industry, because the British Asian scene is a whole scene in itself. So a producer from that scene came and reached out and was like, "Look, we can make me like, I love what you're doing. Let's actually do this in original music." So thanks to him, we started working on original music, and a year or two later, we released it. And that was my first ever British Asian single where I combined English and Punjabi together, and it was called "Know About You." So that was the first one. Then I was like, okay, I love that. Punjabi's been a huge influence, obviously, growing up in the UK, but I'm
Yeah.
not Punjabi myself.
No.
So I was like, yes, I can sing in it, and I love singing in it. Because, sorry, going back to my gap year, I actually did like a 10 language mashup where I kind
Yes.
of was able to sing in all these 10 different South Asian languages just
Was you
because
literally memorizing all these languages like the way it's sung?
the words, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you've got to. But the thing is, I actually think music just has no language. Like, if you're listening to something and you can grasp it, like, you're just singing along. Like, we all sing along to Spanish music, don't we? So it's like, it's the same thing. Like, if we can listen to K-pop, Spanish music, why can we not listen to South Asian music?
Come on.
It's the same sort of concept. Like, music genuinely has no language. Like, I have people commenting on my stuff saying, we love this. I don't understand what you're saying, but I absolutely love it. And I'm like, I love that you love it. You don't need to understand it. Like, that's why I have my translations in my lyrics if I have something. So yeah, so I did this 10 language mashup. I have family friends in all of these different languages. So I was able to check my pronunciation with them, just be like, am I saying it right? Am I like making sense? Because I don't want to say something that meant the complete different thing. So I managed to do that. And I like my long-term vision is to be able to get all of these different languages into my original music and kind of put that out. So far, I've done a few of them. So obviously, I did the Punjabi and English one, and then when I was like, I love Punjabi music, and I continue to sing Punjabi music just because, like, for some reason, I really like Punjabi and Hindi
Come
songs.
on.
But I was like, I'm born and brought up. I'm Telugu, so that's my actual mother tongue. So I was like, I've not seen anyone do this before, and I wanted to bring that and kind of put my language across as well. So being like, this is a language too.
Mhm.
And that's when I came up with my second British Asian single called Legacy, which combined Telugu and English. And the song was about the legacy that I'd like to leave behind. And and what is that legacy? It is the legacy of being able to nurture and like embrace all of these different South Asian languages
Mhm.
on Western sort of genres, because that's where like the mix of the two, right? So that was that. And then I did a Hindi, an English one called Chali Mein after that. And then I collaborated with a few artists. That's when the collaboration started to come through.
Okay.
So my first collaboration was with Arma, and he has an amazing fan base. Like, I managed to like loads of fans started following me from there after that. So that one that we did was actually in Tamil, English, and Punjabi. And then after that, I did Telugu, Bangla, and English with Ni Gundelona, which is my biggest hit to date with Bilal Shahid. And that one, like, I think the Bangla side, like, they really, really supported, came on board.
Mm.
And yeah, I continue to go on combining these different languages. And yeah, now I feel like I've truly found my sound. I truly feel like I'm representing, and I want people to know that, our culture is loved. Like, and I feel like it's being seen a lot more, especially with the rise of TikTok and everything. Like, when TikTok started to come into play, I feel like everyone was being more aware about these different cultures and starting
Mhm.
to embrace their culture. Before that, I don't know if there was that much. I even did a whole research on this for my dissertation about how, like, South Asian culture has started to be embraced and everything. So yeah, I mean, the latest song that I released, like literally the other day, I was thinking, regardless of what the online traction is, I'm so proud of this song just because it's firstly embracing the culture, but the lyrics in there are so empowering, so like it's bad beat energy,
Oh,
and it's just like regardless of what anyone says, you know, you strive for what you love to do, and the like I said, the beat is so empowering, and I absolutely love the song. So regardless of what anyone says, I'm really glad we managed to get this out.
come on, I love that. Talk to me a little bit about the one you done with the H-Dhami,
Hmm.
Saloni.
Yeah, Sonia.
I really like that song. It's really catchy,
Thank
right? And it
you.
was like the little echoey little sorts to
Yeah,
it, and I like H Dummy overall as well, but that's how I came across
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Like, how did that collab come with H?
Yeah, so that one's funny actually, because I was reaching out to all these other artists that I looked up to, so that were in my scene. I was like, I'd love to, work with them, or like at least just open for them at a show or something. Like I grew up watching them. I grew up like their inspirations to me, and so H Army was one of them. And I was like, hey, I'd love to, open for you if you're doing any shows. I'd love to like be an opening act. Wasn't expecting him to work with me because I was like, he's too big for me to work
Mm.
with him. And then he comes back saying, let's go on a track together. And I was like, wait, what? Really? And I was like, wow, amazing. And it's like, working with an inspiration, like someone that you've looked up to saying, oh, let's work together. It really like, it was really humbling and it was really nice to hear. And then we just started working on a track. It took a bit of time because I think we actually went back and forth on like 4 different beats or something
Right.
until we found the one that we wanted to go with. And then even on that beat, we went through like a couple different melodies for the chorus. So it went through a few things, but I feel like we've got the best product at the end. And it's a really catchy tune, like you said, bringing back old school garage. But also, I think what it was important with this was I was also displaying Telugu language onto this. So everyone knows Punjabi and English, obviously from H-Dhami, but like in the UK, but I was like, let me put in my language, my mother tongue, so that at least some people can like, see it. In India, I think Telugu now is actually like their top priority in terms of languages. Like Tollywood industry is huge in India,
Mm.
but it's not seen so much here in the UK. So I wanted to, push that alongside it. And so that's why. And like I kind of did that with I did do that with Nigundelona with Bilal, and I was like, let's take the same sort of formula and put it in here with Punjabi music.
What is the biggest things you pick up when you collaborate with somebody else? Because there must be something you pick up through experience rather than just what the book teaches you. So teach you to sing like this, how to carry yourself, and then you meet another artist who's going through what you're going, so you can relate a lot,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I learned something of you today. I never like didn't know before. Have you come across lessons like that?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like collaboration is key. Like you can't by your own, you can only go so far by yourself. You've always got to work with people to kind of go bigger. My dad's always used this example of like on your own, like there's not really much that you can do. Like you can't really make a difference. But if you've got like 5 of you and you're together, you've got like so much strength.
Yeah.
And so I always take that with me in the sense that like anytime I collaborate with someone, I'm getting so much. So for example, songwriting, I have a few ideas, but on my own, it takes me forever to do. Whereas if I've got someone bouncing ideas off each other,
Yeah.
then we've got a masterpiece. So it's like trying to work with people like that. When I did Nigundelona with Bilal, he really pushed me. So we're both super talented in our own things, but he managed to get something out of me that I didn't even know I had. Like I was singing really high, like Nigundelona is quite high. And I was like, I don't really like singing high, but he pushed me, and we did it in the end.
Hmm.
And so it's like that, and then finding different melodies and kind of piecing them together. That art I learned from him, which I carry on like going forward. So it's just you pick things up from everyone that you work with, and that's the whole thing, is getting these different experiences, and that's what molds you into the person that you are later down the line.
Nice, nice. I like that. Was gonna ask you. The question's gone in my head
No,
now.
all good.
I wanted to, yeah. So what I wanted to ask you is social media.
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah.
to me a little bit about social media and how that all works, because there's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, as you mentioned, Facebook. Which other platforms that you use? Um, and how do you go about posting your music? How do algorithms work? Is social media important, as people saying, because they're like, all you're doing is scrolling all day? How, tell me about that.
Social media is a whole different topic. It's a whole thing. I'm on pretty much all of them except from Twitter. I've never really used Twitter. I don't know why.
It's called
But
X now or something,
oh
isn't it?
yeah, X
Yeah.
now. I started off with Facebook because back when I was like 12, 13, that was what it was.
Mhm.
There was Instagram, but it wasn't used as a like business sort of thing.
It's more pictures, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Started
just
off.
pictures. Yeah. Whereas Facebook was where we would share links, we'd share, YouTube videos, all of that. So I was really big on Facebook back then. That's again, the academy trained me in that to, be big on Facebook. So I did that. And then as I grew older, Instagram just became the natural thing to go to. So now whatever I post on Instagram, I try to just auto post onto Facebook. Or I'll have someone just copy the post and put it on there. But yeah, I think with regards to social media, TikTok has been a huge thing over the last few years. I mean, that's where I got a lot of my audience. When I first released my mashup called Desi No Antinti, it was a mix of Hindi, Punjabi, and English songs, and I put them together. And I posted little snippets on TikTok, and that picked up because people were like, "Oh, I love this mix," and then that brought in an audience. And then I just do really raw videos. Like I'd sing. Oh yeah, one of my biggest videos back then was like I sat in front of a mirror on the bed, and I was just singing, like no backing track, nothing. I was just singing because I love singing, and that did really well. So I think it was just raw videos that were doing quite well on TikTok. And I built my following based on that, which then led to streams, and that obviously helps because that builds your audience on Spotify. Like the only reason this NTT has like a few 100,000 views right now is the streams right now is because of TikTok, and then that helps your original music because people like Nigundelona that hit off. Actually, that one hit off on Instagram, not TikTok. So it's like different songs will do at different times in your life. Like it will do better on different platforms. But it's just I feel like a lot of it is also seeing as you go with the flow. I do have a content plan that I go with, so every time I have a release, I'll have like days that I'm just like, okay, this day I'm going to post this day I'm going to post that. But obviously, I've got to like, that it can change sometimes based on what's picking up. So, for example, there'll be someone being like, oh, this is, Bollywood Queen anthem or something like that, and I'll reply to that comment, and then I'll put like a video of maybe Bollywood Queens and put my sound under it, and then that will get more traction because it's like I'm replying to someone's comment, and then which shows social proof, and then that's like. Then I'm like, okay, how can I make it relevant? I'll put that, and then I'll put my sound in. So then people start checking out the sound, and then it's just like a loop, like an algorithmic loop, basically. And there's so many different aspects to it. And as long as you're consistent, many people don't like posting every day, but it's that whole thing of right, like your 99th post, the 100th post will be a success. So you've got to post 99 times that aren't that great until you get to that point. So it's just about consistency.
What happens when you do post and you don't hit as many likes as you wanted to? So normally maybe you get 329 and this one gets 89. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I'll see it and I'll just be like, okay, what went wrong with that post? What can I change for the next one? And I'll just be like, fine, it is what it is. I'll go to the next one.
Delete it.
I don't always delete it because I'm actually encouraged not to delete it. Like I like in my head, I'm like, should I delete this? But then I'll go get some advice and just be like, you never know, it might hit up. And sometimes that is the case. Like for example, I'll post a TikTok, and then 2-3 weeks later it pops off. So if I deleted that, that wouldn't have happened. So yeah, it didn't do well initially, but it does well like a few weeks down the line. So it's better to just leave it there. On Instagram, I feel like I like my profile to look a bit more clean, just like because it's like a CV in the end, like it's your artist CV. So I won't delete it, but I'll hide it so that it's on my Reels section, but it's not on my post section. But yeah, there's just different ways that you can kind of go about it. A lot of it is go with the flow, but also like that I have like folders of saved content that's like inspiration. So I'm just like whenever I have a release or whenever I'm like stuck for content, I'll just go back to this and like see what other people have done, what I can take from it, and kind of go from there.
One of Drake's songs went viral, and guess what? It wasn't Drake singing.
One of the AI things.
It was one done with the AI.
Yeah.
What do you think of AI? How it's moving, how it's going, and how it can affect you? Is it a good thing, bad thing?
Yeah. I mean, AI is good in different things. I use ChatGPT for all my press releases. Like, it really helps me. Like when I can't be asked to write something or write an email and I want it to look formal, like I'll just use ChatGPT and it helps. But obviously, it's not always good. Like, yeah, it will give me an email, but it just looks so it's not always right. And so I've got to add that human touch and just change a few things and like just make sure like, yeah, I've gotten this, but does it really like convey what I want to say? No, and then I'll change it a bit. But it gives you that base. So I guess AI in the sense of music, yeah, maybe it could give you a bit of a base of what it could sound like, but nothing is equivalent to the actual artist singing that. Like when like is that AI going to perform it live for you? No, obviously not. You need the actual artist. So I feel like it's good to an extent. Like it can get you like that first step, but the finished product is never going to be the same as a final artist. So it always needs that human touch.
I hear you. I hear you. Is having a degree important in today's day and age? I mean, when I was going to university, it was back in 2004 to 2007, and it was literally about 1100, 1200 a year.
Oh,
And so it was like, oh, 3 years,
yeah.
just about 3 grand and
Yeah.
a bit. I could afford to work a summer job.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people sometimes do degrees and then just work in retail, you know, and just have that little name badge of I done a degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But do you need a degree nowadays? Because it's so much more expensive.
Yeah.
You're in about £30,000 worth of debt.
Yeah.
Is there a job waiting for you? Or could you do it through experience? Is it just a status thing in our South Asian
Yeah.
community?
Yeah. I think it really depends on the career that you want to take. So, for example, if you want to be a doctor, definitely you need a degree. Like, you're not going to have a doctor apprenticeship, are you? You need the knowledge. But if it's something like, putting up a business or something, that could just be from experience and that could be from doing courses online and stuff like that. I think it really depends what you want to do. Like there are so many options now, aren't there? There's like apprenticeships, there's degree apprenticeships, like that can help you get to where you want. If like for example, if you know you want to get to this place, if you know you want to be an accountant, let's say there are accountant apprenticeships that will get you to that point. Many people might defer to like our parents will probably say, no, you need a degree, this, that. And so for me doing a degree, for example, firstly, it was giving me more time to figure out what I wanted to do. Like, yeah, I knew I wanted to do music, but I didn't want to go straight into like work because I couldn't do, in the sense that I didn't want to do music straight up because I wanted to be able to fund myself. I didn't want to rely on my parents for the rest of my life. Like, I wanted to be able to build a base for myself, which is why I was like, okay, the degree was buying me a bit more time in the sense that I can do my music, but also study at the same time and kind of build the audience. Like, during my uni, I built such a huge audience, but if I was doing that straight off, like the uncertainty would have got to me. But other people have a different mindset. Other people want to go straight into music, and like they're like, if you want to succeed at plan A, then you shouldn't even have a plan B. Like you need to do plan A. So there's different people that have different mindsets, and I don't think either one is right or wrong. Like, for me, uncertainty scares me. So I'm like, okay, how can I eliminate that fear? So I did that. So because for me, it's like, if I have the uncertainty, then I might not be that great at it. Like, for example, when I was at uni, I was doing uni. So then I was like putting my all into music because I was like, okay, at least I have that just in case. And that gave me some security and that gave me confidence. Whereas if I didn't have that, then I'd just be scared throughout and then not put my all into music, if that makes any sense. But that's how I am. But other people are wired differently. Other people are like, there's no point doing it. Why am I wasting time in plan B when I can just be doing plan A? So I really think it's based on how you are inside, and doing a degree is really to each individual, like how they're like. Obviously, if you're forced into doing a degree, that's not right at all. Whereas I actually felt like I wanted to do this degree, so I did it. And it gives you life skills. It's not just like the knowledge that you get from it. You do get a lot of life skills from going to university as well. But yeah, more like, I think in summary, I don't think it's necessary. Like it just really depends on what you want to do in your career.
Do you think school gets you ready for life?
Not fully. I think it's good basics, but I feel like they could be doing so much more at school, like teaching about mortgages or teaching you about like investments, like or like, okay, even simpler, being able to manage your finances at university. Like if you do go to uni, how are you going to manage your finances? I learned that all from my dad, like, and that's helped me a lot because like after I got out of like I wasn't earning anything at school, but then when I went to uni, I did part-time jobs and everything, and I was earning whatever money I was getting, right? But it was being able to manage that money. So if it wasn't for my dad, I probably would just spend that immediately. But what he told me was like, you need to separate it. So give like 30% to your music, 20% to your charity, or like 20% to leisure, and kind of.
Mhm.
And I have like a whole finance spreadsheet where I'm like, okay, this is where like all of my outgoings are, and this is where my income is. I'm spreading money. I have different bank accounts, like a savings account. I'll have like a different bank account for my leisure money, and I'll put things into there, because then it kind of just makes me make sure that I save. So regardless of what's going on, 20% is always going to go into the bank. Regardless of what's going on, 30% is always going to go into my music.
Mhm.
So then at least I have this money that's like there, and saving it. And essentials, like that, what I do, so the way I do it is like whatever income I get and whatever essentials are going out, I'll like just reduce it from like the income, and then whatever's left over is what I split into, leisure, music, charity, mortgage, and all of that kind of things. So that kind of stuff, if we were taught at school, would have been amazing.
Do you know how to buy a house?
Do I know how to buy a house? No, but I want to know. It's on my list. I want to buy a property soon.
Okay, okay. Tell us a little bit about growing up. So, going back to your journey, you're 4 years old. Do you have memories of being 4 years old?
I have the worst memory in the world, let me tell you that. Like, I won't even remember what I was doing 2 weeks ago. It's so bad.
Hopefully, you remember us.
No, of course.
So, the stories are that you started singing,
Hmm.
and yeah, tell us about it.
Yeah. So, like my parents didn't even know I could sing. We didn't have a musical bone in our body. Like, just as a family, like, it's not a thing. Music isn't really a thing. But at school, they'd teach us like Christmas carols, or like in assemblies, we'd sing stuff. And so we went for Christmas. We went to a temple in Wales called Scandervale. I don't know how you pronounce it. I think it's Scandervale or Scandervale Temple, one of those. And there, one of the like nurses asked me to sing a song, like a Christmas carol. And my parents were like, "No, she can't sing, blah, blah, blah." And then I just come out with this voice, and they were like, "Oh, really? You can sing?" And ever since then, they were like, "Okay, now we've got to put her into certain things." Just like, because they didn't know I had that voice, so they didn't know to put me anywhere. But after that, after they heard that, we came back home. They put me into Carnatic classes, and alongside that, I also did dance. Like I did Bharatanatyam, which is classical dance. So
Your parents identified that and they supported you with it.
yeah,
They helped with the one.
yeah.
That's about different.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm so thankful that they did, because, actually, I don't even know if I would have wanted to go into singing as a career. Like, my parents, they put me into the classical side, which was, yeah, it was great to, just get some. I think they put me in there to get like some cultural knowledge sort of thing, and kind of just be close to roots. But then after that, when I was about 12 years old, I entered like English competitions, for example. I didn't even want to go there. They were
Was
just like, go audition, go audition.
was that from school
No,
or
it was just outside of school.
and
Like,
how did you find out about
my
it?
parents found out, my mum found out, actually. I think she was scrolling on Facebook and got this like
Wow.
post that was like audition to sing.
Wow.
And so we went to these different places to audition, and I was like, do I really have to audition? I don't want to do this, blah, blah,
Where
blah.
was that?
It was, there was one in Milton Keynes, one in Birmingham. It was called Teen Star and Open Mic.
How did you feel among all the other people?
I was nervous,
Mm.
obviously, but at the same time, I think, like, I did like singing. Like, I didn't want to, yeah, I didn't want to go to these auditions and stuff, but deep inside, I just loved singing. Like, when I say love singing, like, I'll go to, like, now when in like my current phase of life, like, when I go to the studio, when I'm singing live, like, yeah, that's all career singing, and I love it. I do love it still, but sometimes it can get to you. It's be like it can get emotional, stressful, like, just like, because you want to, like, there's a goal from this singing. Whereas when I'll go to the temple, or if I'll go to, like, I go to bhajans on Sundays, and like that's just singing for the sake of singing. Like, there's no ulterior motive, there's no goal. I'm just singing because I love singing, and that gets me the most peace. So yeah, I think always foundation wise, I just always just loved singing, even though may have not fully admitted it, may have not wanted to do like certain courses or whatever, but just singing in general, I just loved. And so doing that, I think, yeah, I was scared to perform in front of people, but the more I did it, the more I got used to it. Like when I went to this, so after I did that competition, I was scouted by this academy, and I think that was like a godsend, because that really set me up for, whatever's to come in my career. And after a point, we'd perform at pubs every other week. So it's not just about singing, right? It's about engaging with the audience. It's about being able to hold your front and like speak in between songs, you can't just sing for 30 minutes straight. You've got to encourage the audience to join in, or you've got to like talk to them, just be like, how was your day, blah, 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 and like kind of get it's an experience, not just like not you're not singing to someone, you're singing for people. So you're not singing at them, you're singing for them, and like the whole point is to give them an experience. And so I learned this by doing in the first time. I was like, I don't want to speak to everyone. Like I felt like I had lots of, I wouldn't say like, I don't want to speak to people. I don't like public speaking. It wasn't something that I enjoyed, but I just got used to it, and now I love speaking to the audience. Like, okay, if you give me a speech to speak out, not my thing. But in between sets, I love interacting with them. I love getting people to sing along with me, and that is all because of practice. If I didn't have that, if I didn't go to a pub every other week to perform to like these families, I wouldn't have been able to do these festivals and arenas that I do now.
It's amazing to share that technique. It's just like when I have gone to like public speaking school, it's like it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about them.
Yeah.
It's about their experience.
Yeah.
So how are you helping them? So don't put it's selfish putting the attention on you.
Yeah.
So it's quite a lot of synergy what you're saying there. So when you're singing, you're there to make people feel happy, and But what happens if you look around and people are preoccupied and they know that they're interested? So you might have been in the pub singing, and people are talking over you, or there's too much murmuring going on. Like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so I think initially that was the case, and it was nerve-wracking because it was like no one's listening to me. But then there'll be that odd person in the crowd that's really listening in, so you focus on them. Same goes with like festivals, for example. There's so many people walking around, but sometimes, and like even if there is no one singing, I'll just like kind of look back into myself. I just like there's not always time to think when you're on the stage. You're just kind of singing, and so if I see something, I'll just ignore it and I'll just kind of walk across the stage and sing again. Like, I think it is something you get used to. It's not just something that clicks like that. Like, there'll be loads of times where you do a bad performance and then you'll be like, okay, what went wrong there? I was like, oh, I got into my head too much. So it's like not letting it affect you and just singing how you practice.
Have you ever forgot the words?
Oh, bro, all the time. Like, it's so bad, and every artist will know this. We forget the lyrics to our own songs.
Yeah.
The ones that we wrote lyrics to, we'll forget them. It's just, I think it's just that I saw this post once. There's an art in forgetting the lyrics but not looking like you have. Like, it's a whole talent in itself.
So how do you get over that little blip?
I'll just mumble a bit. And then, but people don't recognize it for somehow, or I'll just repeat the last 2 words that I sang because I've forgotten it, and people just don't recognize. Like, I'll go back and I'll just be like, oh shit, I forgot all my lyrics and everything, and then they're like, oh, we didn't even realize, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, because only you know, not everyone else knows. But yeah, that happens a lot.
So after this agency sort of scouted you, Big Help Music, how many years did you stay with them for?
So I joined them, I think, when I was 13 years old. Released my first EP with them when I was 16.
Please explain what EP is.
An EP it stands for Extended Play, which is basically a mini album. So it had 4 songs on there.
So what's classified as a mini album? What's the maximum songs you can have in there?
I think it's 6 or 7.
Okay.
And then anything above that is an album.
Is an album.
Yeah.
And what's below it? An EP is just a single.
Just
is
a
it?
single. So 1 to 3 songs is called a single.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so where was you releasing these EPs?
So with the Academy, they were a label as well. So they weren't just an Academy; they were a record label. So they distributed it for me.
So imagine one of these EPs went viral and stuff. You've sung. It's their record label. Who gets the money?
The deal that we have, I think it's half. I mean, I was very young then, so I don't even. The contracts are somewhere. But yeah, I guess I think, but they don't get all of it because I think we own the master half and half.
How important is that sort of business side of things in terms of when you release music and you're working with producers or record labels to get them sort of numbers right?
Yeah, it's always a tough one because like you don't want to. Sometimes it's like, am I going to step on their toes by saying this certain number and then they don't want to be on the project anymore? And you don't want that to be the case. But I feel like if you truly think that that's fair and that's right, just put it across. The worst they're going to say, yeah, they might leave. But then if they were going to leave, then they weren't the right person to work with in the first place. So I think keeping that in mind. And luckily, I've not had too much of an issue, especially after going independent. Like, everything's in my control and I can kind of just be like, this is what I want. Are you okay with that? And I can directly negotiate rather than having like a label in between.
What's the benefit of having working with a label, or
There's different things. So with like if you're with a label, it's really dependent on what opportunities they can get you. Do they have a better marketing plan than you? Do they like have bigger reach that they can get you more, like can they get better features depending on their roster? So like it really depends. Whereas if like as an independent, everything's in your control. You own everything. So if you want to remake something, you don't need to ask someone else. You just do it yourself. If you want to, like, all the revenue comes directly to you, and then you split it off with the songwriters or whatever. So like you're mainly in control, and that's the key thing about being independent. So let's say Nigun Delona, for example. That one was actually supposed to be with a label, but there was lots of back and forth. They were supposed to put like an advance. So one thing about a label is they'd put advances in, which means that they'll give you money up front to create a song, towards marketing, whether that's making the music video or just putting money into ads or whatever it is.
How much of a budget will they give you?
It varies from different labels to different labels. Some labels will give you zero, and then but it might be worth it because they have better. To be honest, you shouldn't really be going with anyone that gives zero money, especially if it's a record label. Advances are usually better.
But are we talking 1,000 or 10,000? Like what?
It can range. It can literally range from 1,000 to like 100, like 1,000,000. Like it really it depends what level you're at and how much they think that the song is worth.
Yeah.
But remember, this advance isn't something that like it's free money, and I think that's a mistake many people make. It's not free money. You owe that back in the sense that you owe it back with the streams that the song is making. So for example, like a label has given you an advance of £3,000. You need to wait until your song makes £3,000 for you to get any profit after it. So basically it's just a loan essentially, which is why sometimes being independent is worth it. If you have the money, if you have the funds and stuff, then it's just worth doing it independent.
What if it doesn't hit the money that they've invested? Do they take the L?
Yeah, so it depends on the deal that you have. Like so many deals are different, and I don't want to say that I know everything because I really don't. Like there's so much more to learn. Usually like consult lawyers with this stuff. But if some deals are like if the song doesn't make that money, then they just own it until it makes it. And if you want to, some deals will be like, for example, if you want to take that master back, you've got to pay back whatever's left over that it's not made back. Or I think it's something like that. So it really depends.
How much do you actually make, like from all the music you're releasing and you're doing shows and stuff? Is it something that where you don't need a secure job?
Again, depends on which part of your career you're at. Like if you're getting regular live gigs, if you're sometimes streaming alone is a good pocket, like some money to pocket if you're getting like millions of streams. Again, radio play is a huge thing. So there's something called PRS, and that basically logs any sort of live performance, any sort of radio play. So for example, I'm like Sonia was on A-list playlist for BBC Asian Network. So I've been getting, like, you can see the money coming in just through that alone. And it's a good sum for like to kind of have there. But yeah, I think it's a numbers game. So the more streams that you get, obviously the more money you're going to get, and until you hit a certain number, it depends whether it's worth not doing doing a side job or not.
So with the Big Help Music, when did you sort of like part ways or kind of drift off?
So that was in my second EP. So I did my second EP with them, but then this is when I was like, okay, I want to try and explore the two different things. And at that point I was really, really thankful for how far that they'd gotten me, but I wasn't sure what more I could do with them at that time, and I wanted to explain I wanted to explore other options just to see where I can go. And so that's when I started exploring the whole mix of the genres, and working with different producers. And so yeah, that's when I sort of part ways and started doing my original music in the bilingual side of things.
And how did you reach out to these producers?
So actually the first British Asian producer I worked with, it came to me. But that obviously happened because I was consistent with posting covers. If I didn't post those covers, they wouldn't have turned up on his feed, and he would have never approached me. So
covers are just other songs that have been released, but you're
singing
in your singing.
Yeah. So for example, like there's let's say Taylor Swift. Like I used to cover Love Story a lot, like
Okay.
back when Taylor Swift released that, and so I'd cover that and that'd go on social media. Or like when I said I do like my mashups, so I'd This New Entity, for example, was a mix of Love No Entity, which was a pop like Afrobeat song, and I mashed that up with Umber Saria, and those are covers. They're not my own songs; they're covers. So I put those out regularly, and that's how the producer found me, and kind of just went from one thing to the other.
Amazing. Would you go into like Bollywood music, because Bollywood's massive
Yeah.
and these films, have massive hits? Have you ever thought about doing something with them? Have you got any connections? Is that a thought process?
Yeah, I mean, it has passed my mind. When I was in my gap year, actually, I did go to India to see like what I could make work there, if there's any opportunity for me. And I think what I saw was that there's so much competition there, like
Wow.
so much competition, and so I came back and I was like, how can I stand out in such a big crowd? Like you've got to stand out for something.
Hmm.
And I think that's where I realized, you know what, let me first make a stamp in the UK scene. And like obviously that's how I've done that with these covers, with my originals. Make a stamp here so that I'm big enough here, and then can go to India with that. So it's like that's kind of been my vision, and I'd love to go into Bollywood. But another thing is with Bollywood, like a lot of the time there's like actors that are like being put on the music videos, for example, so you don't even see the singer, so people don't actually know the name until they've done many songs, for example, like, so it's like I don't want to just go there, sing, and then no one knows my name because they've seen these other actors that have sung on top of it. So that's why I want to make a name for myself here and then go there. So for example, let's take the example of Raja Kumari. Everyone knows who Raja Kumari is because she did her original music, and then she did like a feature on on a Tollywood movie. So it's like doing things that make you like show that you're an independent artist, you're like an independent musician, and then kind of go into Bollywood or Tollywood that way.
Amazing. Apart from the music side, what other side hustles have you done to just like get the bills paid, or just, to fill
um
up your time to be productive?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I worked at a record label for the last few months. I worked at Atlantic Records, Ed Sheeran's label. Loved that. And it was great insight to my music and everything. But then I think I I felt like I preferred, as in I loved it. But for something I just wanted to do my own music. So I kind of came back and did my own music. Other than that, like obviously I've done my degree. I did an internship in finance actually in Tesco, and so I had that. And there's a part of me that's trying to figure out whether I just want to explore that a bit. And then if I like it, I'll go ahead with it and still do music. But if I can't balance it, I'll go back to music. Like I feel like music has always been the core for me, and it always will be. And I'll always, whatever other side hustles I'm doing, I will always come back to music. And that will be the key focus.
Have you ever been in Tesco in the finance department and somebody goes, "Heard your music, or I've seen you about," or "Are you on socials? Let me add you."
No.
Right, is this you? Like,
Yeah, that's happened a few times. Not at Tesco because I haven't actually worked there other than the internship. But like whenever I used, like for example at uni, when I'd do side hustles, like I'd work at the cafe, for example, just things like that. People would follow me, especially at Atlantic. When people started following me, they were like, they could see that I'm an artist, which was also quite good because it's a record label. So I'm like, at least I'm getting you guys to know me as an artist in this record label.
what's your goal?
My goal is just to make a living out of being an artist, perform internationally at international live gigs, be performing at arenas for people to sing back at me. It's the whole dream.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you've got a ticket to um a music show like in the Ohter arena. Who is it, that person you're gonna see on stage that you really look up to and you want to be dancing to?
Oh,
The name on that ticket.
on that ticket. Um, that's like asking me who my favorite artist is. Oh, I know Beyonce's performances are huge,
Yeah.
and the way that I think it's really inspiring the way they um portrays herself on stage. Like there's the whole outfit change stuff.
Mm.
um but yeah, no, I actually can't say a name. Like I feel like there's just So many.
Too much talent. All right, so let's go to a little bit of some fun questions now. So thank you for answering all of that podcast for us,
No,
and
of course.
I'm sure you provided a lot of value in terms of the business side. If someone going, I want to make music right now, how does the business side work? How do I become a businessman and get artists working for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for them? And also at the same time, what mindset it requires from like someone like yourself, the hard work, dedication from from a child to a teenager, how much auditions you've got to do, all of that whole mindset and preparation. Because sometimes people think, just get the mic out and I'll start singing, I'll get millions of views, and that's it, I've made it. When the reality is, there is a long, hard working journey behind it.
Yeah.
But thank you for sharing that.
No, of course.
When I ask you, so Saloni, who's your favorite Bollywood star?
Bollywood star Hrithik Roshan. Always loved him.
What do you like about him?
His dancing is insane. But also his acting is really good.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say the six pack.
Yeah, that too. I
mean, your favorite Hollywood star?
Hollywood star. Well, I was gonna say Brad Pitt because him and Hrithik Roshan look alike. But yeah, probably Brad. Oh wait, no, I love Captain America.
Captain America.
I love my Marvel, so I'll go with him.
Isn't it weird how don't you think Akshay Kumar and Tom Cruise look alike? No.
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 Do they?
Got a similar sort of look about them.
I'm trying to picture that. I don't know.
And there's another actor that looks alike. But anyway, I'm going. What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie. I will go with Ye Jawani Hai Diwani. Because it's about friends.
And what's the storyline behind that one?
It's just about 4 friends that kind of go on this, like, they weren't fully friends beforehand. They went on this hike. It's just like the development of friendships. It's just a really feel-good movie. That one ends Zindagi Na Milenge Dobara, which is also about a group of friends that do these different activities across Spain. I literally went to Spain with my 2 best friends, and we did like deep sea diving just like they did in the movie in Costa Brava. So that's another movie.
Nice. Do you like to travel?
I like to travel to hot places. I don't like cold places, but anywhere hot like Spain, or like, if I was to go more east like Bali and stuff like that, I'd love to.
Are we talking more like nice resort, lay back, kick back, sunbathe, or are you talking more like get the rucksack on and let's go traveling?
The first. I am a sunbathe on the beach kind of girl.
Nice. What's your favorite TV shows?
Ooh. I watch so much TV. So, I mean, I've been watching loads, but iconic one is always Suits. Always go back to Friends. Go back to Gossip Girl. Like there's a I don't think Jane the Virgin's a really nice feel good one. These are all teeny sort of movie shows. But yeah, Suits is probably the best one.
Nice. You open the freezer and this ice cream there. What flavor are we looking at?
Ben and Jerry's chocolate fudge brownie.
Oh, come on. Got to spudge you on that one. That is banging. I like it even more now. What sort of foods do you like?
I'm such a picky eater. I am so picky, it's unbelievable. Anyone that knows me will know within like 2 minutes of getting to know me that I'm a picky eater. But the cuisines that I like are Indian, Mexican, Italian, Lebanese. Don't like any like East Asian food. Like,
don't like Japanese.
no, I'm not a fan, unfortunately. I think the only thing that I can have is like the noodles. Like, but other than that, I'm not really a fan. But yeah.
What's your favorite sport?
Sport, swimming. Although I haven't done it in so long, but it is swimming.
Just for your favorite sports person?
Don't have one. I'm not that much into sports.
How about author?
This is so bad. I don't read.
You don't read?
Which I need to, but unfortunately I don't.
Favorite place to hang out?
Ooh. I don't know. Probably. I mean, if I could go to anywhere in the world, it would just be like a nice sunny beach. I remember, Miami, when I went to Miami, it was amazing because the water was warm as well. So you could just kind of go in, come back out. sunbathe, go back in. It was really nice. But like on a regular basis, I just like chilling on my couch with my family, with my friends.
Okay, finish these sentences off.
Okay.
I want to be.
Oh, I have to finish that. An artist. I am an artist.
My role models are.
My parents.
My tip to save the planet is.
Pick litter off on the floor and put it in the bin.
What would make a perfect world is.
Just love all around, no hatred.
Amazing. Okay. So I've also got something down here of you've got original songs selected for UK songwriting
Mm-hmm.
competition with association with Brit Awards.
Yeah. So that was from my second EP, I think. Submitted a few songs and just whatever happens, I was just like, let me just submit it in. And I actually got selected for forgot the exact award that it was. But it was for the UK songwriting competition, which I think was in, in association with the Brit Awards.
How important are awards to you?
Um I feel like awards can only mean so much in the initial stages. Obviously, when it's huge awards, like if it was a Brit Award, for example, or like one of those big like Grammys of the actor side of things. But like I think it. Sorry, my mind just blanked. I
How
don't.
important are awards?
I think it really depends on what stage of the career that you're at. Obviously, when it's like Grammys and stuff, it means a lot. When it's a Brit Award, it's amazing. But just in the upcoming stages, I feel like it's more just important to be thankful for how like your own progression. Like you don't need external appreciation. I mean, ever you don't really need it. You shouldn't want to have external appreciation. It should just be within you. Like, are you happy with what you're doing? So yeah, awards are like nice things to have, like a show, like a trophy on your table or whatever. But I think really deep down, it just, are you happy with what you've done so far? And then if that's all that should really matter.
If somebody's at home right now
Mhm.
and you're talking to them, what is the message you really want to give them from this podcast?
From this podcast,
Or generally,
just generally,
what is the message you're giving?
do what you love to do. If it brings you true happiness, just do it. I feel like that's a very it's basic, but I just feel like it's the truest thing.
Is there any quote that you live by?
Everything happens for a reason. Again, basic, but it is truly something that I like. Everything really does happen for a reason. Like, and it's like it's been put on the plate for you for something, or something bad has happened to you for a reason. But there's probably huge things, like maybe it's avoided something even bigger, like that could have gone wrong, or maybe it's actually been a really big blessing in disguise. Like I wanted, like a deal fell through for me, but actually it meant that the song was independent, and now that's my biggest hit. So it's like, okay, now I fully own it. So it happened for a reason, and a good reason. So yeah, everything really does happen for a reason.
Trust the process, eh?
Yeah, 100%.
Saloni, you've been absolutely amazing. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
me.
coming down.
Of course.
And yeah, we can't wait to carry on seeing how your journey and music career flourishes. And thank you for letting us be a part of it too.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on. It's lovely chatting to you. Thank you.
For sure. And there you go, guys. Another amazing episode. We see the life of a South Asian music artist, see how they think, see the hard work they need to put into their career, still at the stage where they're still trying to make it. Obviously, Saloni's got onto big stages already, had some EPs released, collaborated with some great music artists, but we want to see the transition from here to the next level. And hopefully we can have her on in the future and she doesn't, have a big fee to say, yo, I want £10,000 to come on now. But basically, look, this is what it's all about. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. If studying is your thing, if being a business person is your thing, being a sports star, or even music, on this channel, we showcase all of these celebrities, all of these guests, all these influencers to show you the real mindset it takes to do all of this. So if there's something that you really want to do, Just keep on trying until that door opens. But until next time, peace.